In this video I set out to make a professional armature. I wanted to be creative, be able to build it with my own hands and have the skills to compete in the animation industry. Stop motion figures have always intrigued me. I wanted to build an armature just like the ones in the university stop motion studio, made from the animation toolkit. Here is some of my source research, which is bacon s'mores.
What's up everyone, I'm Mike Alonso of Baking S'mores. Thank you very much for checking out my blog. I am a stop motion animator, and today, in my first how-to video, I'm going to teach you guys how to make your very own wire armature for stop motion animation. So in order to make your wire armature, you will need a couple of things. 1/16 aluminum armature wire, 2 hex nuts,
I used this
2
video
wing nuts,
to
and 2 bolts, all the same size.
To make that last year,
Needle nose pliers,
and
wire cutters,
then I just developed it a little
knife,
bit more with someone else's video.
drill.
And Dr. Puppet's making of videos, used in the making of my wire armature. I wanted to make a professional style armature, creating a character that has a 3D printed head and silicone latex body like the ones from Aardman. I made a maquette of the character, but I neglected to think about scale, which made it look like an alien top heavy. I previously made a wire armature in college, and it turned out amazing in my view. However, I know as I develop my skills, my armature designs will improve. There were many types of armatures made in past years for stop motion TV shows. The ones I remember as a child were Bob the Builder, Rubber Dubbers and Koala Brothers.
Bob the Builder, can we fix it? Bob the Builder, yes we can! Here come the rubber dubbers, splish, splash, splish, splash. Here come the rubber dubbers, splish, splash, splash. Here come the rubber dubbers, splish, splash, splash.
If you're in trouble and you need someone to help you out, there's no need to whistle and there's no need to shout. Hey, 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 help is on its way. Call the Koala Brothers, call the Koala Brothers, call the Koala Brothers, call the Koala Brothers, help is on its way.
I have seen the actual armatures made for the TV shows Rubber Dubbers and Terry Pratchett Truckers, which now has decayed away over time. Whilst I was in the prototyping stage, I learned a lot of new skills, such as how to build a metal armature from non-manufactured parts, I saw Tim's development of a metal armature, which inspired me to develop my own. I also learned how to work with other stop motion students, one of which was Chris Connell, maker of Jade the Rabbit's Trash Terror.
And then just below there, so I can like time down to a set, and then he'll finally be finished.
I saw a lot of other students attempt to create armatures for myself. I saw how to silver solder when Chris was soldering the character Jade. After learning these skills, I set out to buy a ball and socket parts kit to make my very own armature from the website Animation Toolkit. After receiving my parts the last day before the makerspace closed in April before Easter, I set out connecting the kit together to make the skeleton of the armature I am going to develop. I started by fixing the ball joints together, then built the arms and legs together with threaded screws. I set out the parts upon the armature template. I then 3D scanned and printed my actual head form for the 3D armature's head. I proceeded to cut a long metal bar 5 to 6 millimeters thick to the length of the waist. Here is the armature nearly in fully structure, which just needs the body and legs connecting to the waist. I cut the shoulders off the 3D print for the head, then I shaved down the edges of the waist. I measured up the bar to drill the holes into it, but I struggled to do so. I required help from Tim for this. Then Tim and I threaded the holes for the screws with a die. Shown here is a picture of the final product of the threaded bar. I proceeded to cut the bar to the correct length to attach the waist to the body. I did the same again to connect the legs to the waist. Shown here is the video and picture of the final skeleton of my armature. Here are the things I learned during the production of my project of the armature building. To evaluate this project, I built this armature with parts from the Animation Toolkit and some built from spare metal sheets. When I was making the armature, I really enjoyed the intricacy and complexity of building the kit with an industry professional being Tim Bailey. The good things about this project was seeing my own head being 3D printed and learning from the professional. The good things about this project was seeing my own head being 3D printed and learning from the professional. The bad points were I kept burning my finger on the hot metal after cutting the bars from the heat of the friction. I realised to wear protective gloves so as not to burn myself again. Added to that, most of the time I was left to assemble the kit by myself as Tim was pulled to cover other students. I made sense of the situation by understanding there was a lot to think about, particularly safety in the workshop. I realised I had some knowledge but not to jump ahead without a plan and label everything so as not to double up unnecessary on some of the parts. Because of the time issue being that I'd not made a ball and socket armature before, it took me a long time, so I wasn't able to do the silicone moulding and replacement heads. I hope to do this at a future stage. If the situation came about again, I would have looked carefully at choosing the head with a more excellent surface standard. I used a practice head but actually made a good attempt of it first time, so wished I used the better head to attach it first time. I used a practice head but actually made a good attempt of it first time, so I wished I used the better head to attach first time. I wish to develop the armature further next year's semester by giving it silicone face and clothes, and to give it more of a built body and some changeable faces. I really enjoyed this project, making this armature, and I can't wait till next semester to develop my armature further.